welcome back, guys. Well, it's your first time here. I'm Vision here, born to bring you guys my video, telling you guys my review for The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 12, The Lucky Ones. Now, if The Walking Dead is something you're instant, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below, hit that bell icon there to miss more Walking Dead content from me moving forward. Now, let's begin. We are officially at the halfway mark of the second half of The Walking Dead Season 11 with Episode 12, The Lucky Ones. Now, this one was I think probably the strongest episode of this half so far. It was a very solid episode. I'm going to take each story little by little. So I'm going to start first off with the Ezekiel story because it's pretty much the smallest one. He's been pushed up to the list thanks to Carol's actions in the previous episode. He finds out and is excited. However, he does find out how he got to the list and is, been given this surgery. And he does get mad at Carol. And I really like how they had Ezekiel upset with her, how she, pushed him up the line and, made it so other people couldn't get the treatment they needed. So I really like that because it fits with Ezekiel's character. And I'm very interested to see how that'll affect his relationship with Carol in the rest of the season. I feel like it also pretty much at this point is gonna confirm Ezekiel survives. I would be surprised if he doesn't. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty solid episode. Part of the episode with him, he gets his surgery. Jerry's excited for him. He gets a little upset with Carol. I don't think it's gonna have a huge thing with their relationship, but I do hope it definitely has some repercussions to an extent. Nothing big, but just some small things where they need to, patch things up at some point. Then you got the storyline of Eugene and Stephanie because he doesn't trust the new Stephanie here. It's also revealed that her name is actually Max, not Stephanie. She was just using an alias on the radio. So he meets up with Max and he's not trusting of her due to what happened. She kind of tells him how things went down. Mercer, her brother, he found out that she was talking to Eugene, and that kind of put things in them all into this dangerous situation. You got Eugene who goes to talk to Rosita about what happened. They got Rosita who comforts him and kind of encourages him to go speak with Stephanie again, which he does go talk to Stephanie again. And, they kind of start mending that friendship and starting to form a bit of a bond there. Nothing too big. I think both these stories were solid and decent. Nothing special, but I think they definitely were good for both these characters' stories moving forward. But the big story of this episode was that Pamela Milton came to our communities and toured them, similar to what they did in the comics. Only this time it's Aaron giving the tour instead of Rick. So we get to see her tour Alexandria. Some nice scenes there, her recognizing Deanna. Some great stuff there. Now I know a lot of fans are kind of annoyed that no one mentioned Rick and how he created this community, but if you think about it, it really is Deanna who was the one who created the community. It doesn't fall all the way on Rick, so I'm happy they didn't give Rick all the credit for saying that Alexandria is all because of him. Yes, he came to the community and led it for a good amount of time, but it wasn't just him who made Alexandria what it is. So I'm glad they didn't go down that route. But you do have them, tour Alexandria's, get some good scenes there. Then they move on to Oceanside, which I was very kind of disappointed here. Now I know Oceanside and its characters are very small compared to Alexandria and Hilltop, but I wish they would have spent maybe a few more minutes at Oceanside because I feel like they went there maybe 5 minutes at the most and then left. I wish we'd gotten a little bit more with them. I'm curious as to why Cindy hasn't been seen in the show for a very long time. It's weird in a way. I don't think the actress has anything going on, so it's weird why she left the show and hasn't returned. Because now you got Rachel, who's the new leader, which is fine. I don't care. Oceanside isn't this big community, but I'm curious as to what happened there. Plus, we knew Luke was there, and we haven't seen Luke all season, so I'm curious as to where he went. But then we move on to them going to Hilltop. You got Pamela Milton meeting Maggie, and I really like how they put this story arc together because we know that Maggie is against the Commonwealth due to the flash forward we saw in episode 9. So we get to see her meet with Pamela Milton. She's very wary of her. She's, not 100% on board. She thinks, I'm a good leader. I could, even though Hilltop has gone through some rough times, we can still rebuild, and we'll come back. So I really like that. However, you got Pamela Milton, who's trying to convince her. They go out on this like this hunting journey, and the two of them chat about their pasts and how they came to be, how both communities came to be, similar to Rick in the comics. So I really like that. I really like how they're using Maggie in this way of kind of being the new Rick in the series. I think it's definitely mixed between these different characters, but I think right now Maggie is taking on a little bit more some of the Rick attributes of the series. One thing I wish she had have mentioned, and it was mentioned in the comic, is I wish she would have said that she doesn't like to refer to Pamela Milton as being a governor because of her past experience with the governor back in season 3 and 4. That was something that Rick mentioned in the comics. I wish they had brought that up here. I'm surprised they actually haven't brought it up here, because I would have think her or Daryl would have mentioned that at some point. So I'm very surprised they haven't mentioned it here. And I hope at some point they do reference it at some point. It's just something I think is definitely needed for the story arc, just due to their history with the governor. But you got that going on. You got them who return. You got Daryl, who pretty much fails in Mercer. This place used to be special, but we've all fell on hard times due to the Whisperer War. You got Mercer, who tells them, even though Hilltop had been prosperous and had good times, the Commonwealth isn't as perfect as, it looks. So I really like how they're setting up that. They're setting up more to resist the Commonwealth, talking about how it's not perfect. And you got Lance, who tries to talk Maggie into, joining the Commonwealth. Still, she's against it. And you get towards the end of the episode, and you got a walker attack, and they go out to fight walkers. The Hilltop nearly is having a rough time, and Mercer pretty much has the Commonwealth soldiers open fire, killing off the walkers, which kind of, I think, upset Maggie to an extent. I really like how they had that kind of thing where Maggie wasn't too happy that they opened fire. But then you get to the end of the episode, like I said, and you got some of Maggie's people, like Deanna, who decides, you know what, we've done it here, we've tried it your way in a sense, and we're gonna go with them to, try to do better. So I really like that to an extent. I did feel bad for Maggie, because it feels like her people are, abandoning her and leaving her behind, which I feel like is definitely a gut punch to Maggie as a leader, and makes her feel like she failed. So I'm very curious to see how that goes down, because I think she's also going to have to deal with that, because she also probably still has the, feelings of being a failure as a leader due to losing most of her group to the Reapers in the first half. So I'm very curious to see how that goes there. But that goes down, and you got Lance, who is getting scolded by Pamela, because Pamela believes that Lance wasted her time here, and we get to see a deeper look into Lance, and Lance is becoming one of those characters who is kind of, greedy, and from her stance, she says, you're not here to help the Commonwealth, you're here to help your position, you want to become a leader. Lance is at the point where he wants to expand his leadership. He's, wanting to become and gain control over something more than what he has, it seems like. And she even mentions, you want to expand your kingdom, you want to gain power and control, which Pamela Milton's against. So it looks like they're setting Lance up to be more of the primary antagonist with the Commonwealth. In the comics, it was Pamela Milton who was more of the antagonist, so I'm curious as to see what role she will play in the second half or the third part. So definitely an interesting aspect there. You also have some tensions rising between Lance and Aaron, because Lance was angry at Aaron because he didn't know that, Hilltop and Oceanside had an alliance, and pretty much threatened, if the alliance fails, they're going to abandon Alexandria and it'll be on their own without the Commonwealth's help. And it pretty much ends with, Lance kind of blowing off steam, killing walkers, and you got Aaron who confronts him about, what's going to happen now, because Hilltop and Oceanside didn't go for their offer, and will they still support Oceanside, or will they still support Alexandria? And Lance says, yes, we're going to build the rest of the world, setting him up for the Commonwealth story arc as the villain. It definitely feels like, to an extent, they could be setting up Aaron to take Dwight's comic book death. I really hope they don't go down that route. I really like Aaron, and I hope they carry him to the end of the series. I don't want to see him die. I originally thought they'd give that death to Magna, which is still definitely a possibility, but it's looking more and more like it could be Aaron. So I'm very curious to see what goes on there and how the story arc continues moving forward, because I think Lance is going to stay at Alexandria. I'm not sure. So I think at one point how this whole thing is going to play out is eventually Lance is going to gain control of Alexandria and then again try to expand his power, maybe take Oceanside at some point, and then come for Hilltop, and that's why you got Daryl showing up at Hilltop in that flash forward. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how things play out. But it definitely feels like they're going down that route of the reason they're against Maggie's against them in the flash forward is that maybe Lance is expanding his power and he wants Hilltop, and Hilltop won't surrender. So I think that's where they're going, but I definitely am curious to see how it plays out. Definitely found this was a very solid and best part of this season so far. If I had to give this episode a grade, I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. Definitely, like I said, solid episode. Small nitpicky things here, but definitely a solid episode. But let me know your thoughts and opinions about the episode in the comment section down below. Yeah, guys, that's my review for The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 12, The Lucky Ones. As always, if you like this video, don't forget to get a big thumbs up and share. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit that bell icon. There is more Walking Dead content from me moving forward. And go for me on Instagram and Twitter, which are linked in the back section on my YouTube channel. As always, I'm Vision Hero Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.